Okay, I'm going to talk about a supplement that most people have probably never heard of. This is kind of an obscure supplement. It hasn't been around that much, but it has some very interesting properties, and for that reason, I'm making this video. What I'm talking about is something called coffee berry. Coffee berry, as the name implies, is part of the same plant that produces coffee beans. It's basically the berry that grows on the same plant that produces coffee beans. There's a berry. It's kind of a reddish berry. It's small. It looks kind of like cherries, but it grows on the same, as I said, the same plant that produces coffee beans. In the past, coffee berry were discarded. They were thrown away until it was discovered that coffee berry contains some components that are unique from coffee bean that can provide some kind of exciting possible health benefits. I say possible because it's not an extensive amount of research on the effects of coffee berry, but what does exist is very interesting. The benefits of coffee berry include very potent antioxidant activity. Of course, coffee is the main source of antioxidants in the American diet. In fact, around the world, coffee contains various natural antioxidants, polyphenols, not chlorogenic acid, it doesn't, because it's cooked out of coffee, but it contains a couple of antioxidants in the polyphenol compounds that are actually the main source of antioxidants for most people, especially people that don't eat a lot of fruits and vegetables and don't take any supplements. But the coffee berry fruit, or the coffee fruit, I'll call it coffee berry, is very high in antioxidant compounds such as rutin, chlorogenic, protocatachoic, and gallic acid. Some of these things are tough to pronounce. A 2008 study found that ingesting 800 milligrams of coffee fruit extract per day for a month improved antioxidant status. In other words, taking it alone improved the antioxidant status of the body. Older test tube and animal studies have shown that the extract can improve immune function and slow the growth of cancer cells, possibly due to its high antioxidant content. This includes a 1996 study showing that coffee berry inhibits breast tumors in mice and helps to activate T cells that destroy tumors. Killer T cells are cells that are part of the immune system that engulf incipient tumors and destroy them before they can take hold. One of the reasons why cancer goes up with age, it's a disease that exists largely in older people, is because of lower T cell production and lower T cell activity. Anything that would increase T cell activity, vitamin D does this too, by the way, would go a long way to helping to prevent cancer, because as you get older, the incidence of what they call DNA mutations greatly increases. I'm not going to go into causes, but there's a lot of things in the environment, things that you eat, things in the air, that can cause mutations in your DNA, and this in turn causes cells to become cancerous, and of course leads to cancer itself. But one of the most interesting effects of coffee, besides the possible cancer prevention, one of the most interesting effects of coffee berry are its effect on brain health. This is the thing that attracted me to this coffee berry stuff, because one particular study I'll mention in a second, it's mind-boggling. A 2020 study of 71 older adults with mild mental decline found that consuming coffee fruit extract for 28 days, or just under a month, significantly reduced reaction time and focus. In other words, it helps to kind of improve their memory so they don't get those senior memory moments and so on and so forth. But here's the really interesting thing that really attracted me. Coffee fruit extract appears to offer brain benefits by increasing a substance called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF. BDNF can be described as fertilizer for the brain. What it does is it increases dendritic connections, increases synapses connections, it makes your brain work better, communicate better, and maintains neurons in your brain. In short, it keeps your brain healthy and younger. It prevents a lot of the brain defects we associate with aging, such as a decline in memory, cognitive or thinking functions, and also focus. So brain-derived neurotrophic factor is extremely important. It can also be increased by exercise, particularly aerobic exercise. is known to increase brain neurotrophic factor. Weight training does also to a far lesser extent. This is one of the benefits of aerobics. This is why a lot of times, in fact, I've noticed this, when you do a session of aerobics, you might notice that you're extremely clear-headed and you're able to focus much better for a couple hours after engaging in a session of aerobics. And the possible reason is because of the aerobics kicked out some brain neurotrophic factor. Anyway, when the study of coffee fruit extract showed that when just 100 milligrams was given to human volunteers, it increased brain neurotrophic factor by 143% in just 2 hours. That's unbelievable. That's tremendous. Now, I don't think it was studied, but I have a suspicion that if you took, let's say, coffee berry extract before you did a session of aerobics, it would lead to extremely sharp thinking, almost like a smart drug effect, where you'd be very clear-headed and very focused for a number of, who knows how long, a couple of hours after the exercise session ended. Since those suffering from Alzheimer's disease show low levels of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, coffee extract may be a benefit if it provided in the early stages. Now, there's different stages of Alzheimer's disease. The early stages, which is, let's call them 1 and 2, are more amenable to treatment by taking preventive measures such as certain nutritional measures, exercise measures, and supplement measures. In fact, in one of the early issues, I believe in the first year of my Applied Metabolics newsletter, I supplied a complete program of exercise, supplements, and diet that was shown to reverse Alzheimer's disease symptoms in 9 out of 10 people who used this particular program, and the entire concise listing of what this program entailed, which was developed by neuroscientists at UCLA, is in one of my early issues of Applied Metabolics. But anyway, some of the mechanisms, again, involved increase of brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Besides boosting brain neurotrophic factor in the brain, coffee berry also improves brain function through the following mechanisms. Now, before I read off these mechanisms, be aware that coffee berry does contain caffeine, and caffeine is known to stimulate cognition. It's a brain stimulant. Anyone who drinks coffee knows you have to have a couple of cups of coffee, it wakes you up. And one of the reasons, the main reason it does that, is because coffee has caffeine, I should say, has an antagonistic effect against a brain chemical called adenosine. Adenosine tends to relax you and kind of make you sleepy. It also creates foggy thinking. Adenosine is produced when you go to sleep. It also expands, dilates arteries in the coronary arteries, does a number of things, but by blocking adenosine, coffee makes you alert. So keep this in mind as I read off these benefits that are associated with coffee fruit. Adenosine receptor antagonist. Again, that's the caffeine. Adenosine decreases levels of the neurotransmitters acetylcholine, glutamate, serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine, which is why all of these things are brain-stimulating neurotransmitters. This is why adenosine kind of makes you foggy. It's basically turning off the mechanisms in your brain that keep you alert and thinking. Blocking adenosine receptors, caffeine counters those effects. Also, coffee fruit upregulates acetylcholine signaling. Acetylcholine is a neurotransmitter in the area of the brain most associated with cognition and memory, the hippocampus, and that's acetylcholine is the main neurotransmitter in that area. So, if you upregulate acetylcholine signaling, you're going to have, again, clearer thinking, greater focus, and better memory. Acetylcholine is also produced in the brain, as the name implies, from the nutrient choline, combined with an acetyl group. You can get the acetyl group from taking a supplement called acetyl L-carnitine. Acetyl L-carnitine combined with choline will produce acetylcholine in the brain. There's a lot of scientists are telling people not to ingest any choline, because of it's converted by intestinal bacteria into a substance that's related to, supposedly connected with cardiovascular disease called TMAO. This is very, 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 very bad advice, because if you cut down on choline, it's going to definitely cause brain defects, memory defects. And there's some recent research showing that types of choline that are able to enter the brain, such as alpha GPC and acetylcholine, can actually help prevent Alzheimer's disease. This is new research. So, and not only that, but this idea that TMAO is without a doubt associated with cardiovascular and kidney disease and diabetes is far from solid. It's just right now more hypothetical than anything else. There is not solid evidence to prove that at all. Coffee fruit extract also upregulates dopamine signaling. As I mentioned in previous videos, dopamine is the get up and go neurotransmitter. It's what gives you your drive to do anything in life. Go to the gym, start a project, work hard, whatever. It's also the neurotransmitter of the sex center of the brain. Dopamine is what provides pleasure, the feeling of pleasure in the brain, including sexual pleasure. That's from dopamine. And the reason why people like cocaine is because it inhibits dopamine reuptake, and that's what gives you the feeling, the good feelings you get from cocaine. Unfortunately, cocaine also destroys neurons and destroys your heart, but that's another story. The coffee fruit extract also upregulates serotonin signaling. Serotonin is also involved in intelligence, and it's also involved in the onset of sleep and relaxation, and also is an anti-stress neurotransmitter. In fact, people who take large amounts of steroids, it tends to interfere with serotonin signaling, and when serotonin gets low, you tend to have greater fits of anger and rage. And there's a theory that it's the low serotonin that's produced by high steroid use that causes some users, not all, to be a little more angry and tense when they're on steroids. And it follows, if you take something that's a nutritional precursor for serotonin, like L-tryptophan, the amino acid, it will increase serotonin in the brain, as will coffee berry extract by increasing the serotonin signaling, and it will modify or modulate the lowered serotonin you get when you're taking steroids. So the net effect is you'll feel a lot better. You won't be as angry. It's just I wrote about this like 30 years ago in one of my magazine articles about this effect of serotonin. Coffee fruit extract also regulates glutamate signaling. Glutamine is another neurotransmitter made from glutamic acid, the amino acid, and glutamine is associated with what they call NMDA receptors that are involved in intelligence and focus. Unfortunately, too much glutamate is no good. When you have a stroke, the brain tends to release too much glutamate, which causes the neuronal destruction that causes a lot of the effects of having a stroke, like paralysis, loss of one side of the, feeling on one side of the body, loss of the ability to speak, and all that. This is caused by excess glutamate release in the brain. But coffee berry won't produce excess glutamate. It only upregulates the signaling in the sense that it'll make you more alert and open to learning, that type of thing. Conversely, coffee bean extract also upregulates GABA signaling. GABA is gamma aminobutyric acid. It's the primary inhibitory neurotransmitter of the brain. This is the neurotransmitter that basically puts you to sleep at night. Most sleeping pills, pharmaceutical drugs, work by interacting with the GABA receptors in the brain, of which there are 3. And anything that's going to upregulate GABA signaling is going to help you feel relaxed and greatly reduce feelings of stress. Coffee fruit extract also, can you believe all this? Coffee fruit extract also upregulates noradrenaline signaling. Noradrenaline or norepinephrine is still another brain neurotransmitter. This one is also a brain stimulant. This is the thing that gets you going. It's increased when you work out. With the high norepinephrine, you're going to feel like you want to train more intensely and harder, and you're going to be more focused in your workouts. And coffee fruit extract also upregulates cortical activation in the brain, improves overall thinking ability. It operates cerebral metabolism, and it promotes wakefulness. In other words, that's probably due to the caffeine also. Coffee fruit extract, some study shows, also protects against neurotoxic agents that can harm neurons in the brain and cause diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's diseases. And by doing so, it protects against neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. Now, while caffeine in coffee is associated with promoting fat loss, that's the reason why caffeine is in almost every so-called fat burner product. You see caffeine because it's associated with fat loss. Coffee berry also provides some fat loss benefits. As an in vitro or test tube study of isolated fat cells found that exposing the cells to coffee berry extract promoted the breakdown of fat cells while suppressing the development of new fat cells, which is called lipogenesis. Again, this was a test tube study, so you have to keep that in mind. It doesn't mean it's going to happen in the human body. So I don't want you to mistake this to believe if you take coffee fruit extract that you can eat whatever you want and you're not going to get fat. No. This has only been shown with isolated cells. It may not occur to any great extent in the human body. A key element in coffee fruit extract that counts for much of the effect in promoting fat loss is chlorogenic acid. Now, chlorogenic acid exists in raw coffee beans, but when coffee is processed, it's heated up, which destroys a lot of the possible molds and toxins that could exist in the coffee beans. But unfortunately, it destroys some of the beneficial compounds that also exist in raw coffee beans, including chlorogenic acid. If you want to get chlorogenic acid, you have to eat basically raw sources of coffee or coffee extracts, like they have like coffee bean extract. There's a supplement called coffee bean extract that contains a good amount. It's actually 50% chlorogenic acid, and also coffee fruit. Coffee fruit extract is also high in chlorogenic acid. Chlorogenic acid actually inhibits the enzyme that causes glucose uptake into cells, which tends to, by doing so, it goes a long way towards preventing excess body fat formation. And also, it helps to control elevated blood glucose levels, so it would be very good for people with diabetes or pre-diabetes or insulin insensitivity. When mice on high-fat diets are provided with chlorogenic acid, it prevents body fat gains. Again, it's a mouse study. You can't completely extrapolate mouse studies to human studies or any animal studies to humans because only 50% of animal studies are found to be useful or applicable to humans. Only half, and sometimes less. A human study that lasted for 2 weeks found that consuming coffee with extra chlorogenic acid significantly decreased belly fat, visceral fat, deep-lying belly fat, by far the most dangerous form of fat in the body because it's associated with insulin insensitivity, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and cancer. Anything that reduces belly fat or deep-lying visceral fat is going to improve your health and help you live longer. I'm going to have a full article on visceral fat. Some of the effects are absolutely amazing on how bad this stuff really is. People have no idea. I've never seen any layman's article written explaining the dangers of visceral fat, so I'm going to do it for my Applied Metabolics newsletter. And as usual, it will be free of excess technical terms where you have to pull out a medical dictionary. It'll be written plain English. So you'll know the dangers of visceral fat, but know now that coffee berry extract combined with exercise will reduce visceral fat. The good news is that visceral fat is one of the first forms of fat to go when you start to exercise and diet. What's the dose range for coffee fruit extract? It's from 100 to 800 milligrams. If you're looking for the brain benefits, such as increase of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, all you need is about 100 milligrams a day, which just happens to be the amount that's found in typical coffee fruit extracts. So you only have to take one a day. If you want an ergogenic effect from coffee fruit extract, you'd have to go up to about 600 milligrams a day, which would be about 6 of the supplemental pills. So that's about it for coffee fruit extract. I should add that I am not, just in case you're wondering, I'm not involved in any company that sells coffee fruit extract. Not at all. I just made this video because I found some of the, I personally, anyone who's viewed my channel or my past videos knows I have a deep interest in anything that's going to maintain brain health or stimulate intelligence and learning. And I came across this coffee fruit, and I thought the effect on brain-derived neurotrophic factor was so interesting that it led me to do this video, and that's the reason I did it. I don't make any money from anyone buying coffee fruit extract, but I will give you one tip. I looked online for the various supplemental forms, and I found that a company called Swanson Swanson Vitamins seems to have the least expensive coffee fruit extract I found. It's only $4. That's most of them are like $30 and up for the same dose, 100 milligrams. So you have Swanson at $4, and the others are $30 and up. So if you do want to try it, you might want to start with Swanson's. It's only $4. Can't go wrong. And I think that if you're having any kind of, from what I've seen, if you're having any kind of memory deficits or senior moments or stuff like that, you might, give it about 30 days and see if it helps you. And full disclosure, right before I did this video, I myself just bought, I've never used coffee fruit extract, but I just bought it myself. Just bought it right a minute before I did this video. So I'm going to test it on myself. So anyway, if you want to know, you can contact me and I'll tell you after 30 days if I notice anything. But with me, it'd be tough because I'm taking so many brain health supplements. It would be hard to detect any difference from coffee fruit extract. And I do aerobic exercise. So I'm already stimulating brain-derived neurotransmitter factor, but I'm going to try it anyway. Can't hurt. $4, come on. Jeez. Anyway, that's about it. And if you want more information on nutrition, exercise science, anti-aging research you can use today, fat loss techniques that really work, supplement science, which supplements work, which ones are garbage. I don't hold back. As I said, I'm not associated with any supplement company. I'm going to tell you the truth about supplements based on hard science. I'm not selling anything but information in my Applied Metabolics newsletter. I also cover ergogenic aids, which are substances that can help you train harder and more efficiently. Also, hormonal therapy like testosterone replacement therapy. I don't discuss how to take anabolic steroids because that's basically illegal. And I don't know who I'm dealing with, and I think it's wrong to suggest, cycles of anabolic steroids because, first of all, none of them are based on science. I've seen these videos where these schmucks are telling them to take exact doses based on what? Where'd they come up with this stuff? There's nothing in the medical literature to show the doses they're recommending. They pulled it out of their head, or maybe they worked with a couple of guys, and because that dose worked, now it must be good for everyone. That's bad science. I'd be very wary of anybody who starts to give out precise doses of steroids and other drugs. They're talking through their behinds because there's no evidence of what they're saying. Nothing. It's strictly hypothetical. Just wanted to throw that in. I also cover women's health. How's this for a jump? I also cover women's health and fitness and many other topics. I cover more topics and Applied Metabolics than any other digital publication. Besides that, nobody, to my knowledge, and I mean nobody, who has any digital publication can match either my writing experience of 40 years or my empirical knowledge, if you want to call it that, which is 58 years of being in the gym and constant study over 58 years. Nobody can match that. Nobody. I don't care how many degrees they have. So there. But I know it sounds arrogant what I just said, and I apologize, but it's the truth. It really is. It's like an old TV show that had Walter Brennan. He used to always use the phrase "no brag, just truth," and that's what I'm saying here. So you can subscribe at www.appliedmetabolics.com. It's not expensive at all. It costs about as much as a cup of coffee at Starbucks. And for that, you'll get a ton of information. It costs, what does it come out to? I think it comes out to 60 cents a day, which is, the local newspaper here in Los Angeles. The LA Times costs something like $2.50 a day. And you get a lot more information in every issue of Applied Metabolics than you'll ever get in any newspaper. So subscribe today. And when you subscribe, I'll send you an invitation to join my private Applied Metabolics Facebook page where every day I post new information on nutrition, exercise science, and medical news that you'll find very useful. It's only for current subscribers. And I also have an email portal on my Applied Metabolics web page, again, only for current subscribers. They could send me short questions related to anything they read in Applied Metabolics or anything that pops in their head, as long as it's not going to require a 30-page answer. For that, you'd have to do a consult. There's an extra charge for that. But anyway, that's about it. And what can I say? Applied Metabolics, 40, 50 pages every month. Very, very in-depth. The most in-depth stuff you'll ever read. Ask anyone who's a subscriber, they'll tell you. So if you go to your local shelter, adopt a dog. Best friends you'll ever have. And that's about it. Take care. Thank you for listening. Go get that coffee, Barry.